Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business and sell more with less effort thanks to the Shopify magic, your AI-powered all-star. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/redcircle, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/redcircle now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/redcircle.
You're listening to Make It, the indie film podcast. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Make It podcast. I'm your host, Chris Barkley.
And I am here for another episode of the Make It podcast. And I am Nick Bugs.
No, you're
What's
not.
What's up, man?
You're an imposter. You're AI.
No, I am not AI. I will never be AI. Man, I tell you, like, you want to use like these different tools and they're like, hey, we can make this better and we can make this faster. And you're like, I'm going to click on that button because it's going to make me better and faster. And then at the bottom of it, it says, and then we will own your voice in perpetuity. And I'm like, no, never mind.
Scared me off with all that perpetuity talk.
Yeah, perpetuity. That's a real, see, Chris, you just did that to me. Like now you got it. When you say perpetuity, it sounds like a really silly word. Like you just say it 3 times fast. You're like, that's a silly word. Yeah. Anyway, I won't do it.
Exactly. Well, look, it makes me think about something else because what AI does, especially the writing AIs, the grammar AIs, and I love Grammarly. I love some of these apps. Yeah. They're very helpful. It's really inserted in every single app that you have now, whether it be an email client, whatever.
Yep,
and they're always insulting us. Have you noticed that? You will write an email, it's perfect, and then at the bottom will say, want to improve it?
Right.
Want to make a bigger impact with your text? Like I did make a big impact.
No, Chris,
this is awesome.
I want your voice. I want your voice on my email now. I want to type it and I want to hear you go, want to make a bigger impact? Want to improve it? Did you really mean to write it that way?
Did you want to put that comma there? Yeah, exactly. It's always trying to grade you. I'm like, I don't need that in my life.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I got something going on here with our guest Shanti, for example, where if I
got a guest,
if I write an email to her, she's expecting my authentic voice.
That's right.
Right? She knows if it was an AI, and I think people in general will know, like, I think they AI'd that. That doesn't sound like they're not that smart. They would never use that word.
That's right.
Peripatetic. No,
they wouldn't use that word that many times.
Yeah. Oh, you're apoplectic? Right. Never in your life. Never in your life had you said that word.
Unless you're Nick Bugs.
Unless you're Nick Bugs, right. By the way, with us on this journey is producer Papa Bear. Say hello, Papa Bear.
Per usual.
Hello.
Welcome. Not with us is intern Sam. We're going to miss intern Sam today. He had a family thing, so got to take care of fam first. That's our policy usually.
That's right.
I would say always. So I hope you're enjoying this when you watch it, Sam. And we miss you, but we got it taken care of. We appreciate you doing the work in advance for us, and we're going to let that shine tonight. Speaking of people on the podcast, let me just give a formal introduction to Shanti Lowry, our esteemed guest. Shanti, you want to tell the people what your name is, title is, what we might know you for, what you're excited about now? I think we already said the name. We can leave that behind. But
I hope the name is the same as what you said.
Well, she
has a story about that.
I do have a story about the name, which we could get to later. But hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be with you. I am an actor and a producer. I'm newly a production company owner. My husband and I started a production company after about 2 decades of being an actress and a sort of producer in name only in a lot of things. I finally got the courage to start my own production company, and we just released our first just incredible thriller, suspense, mystery with like a splash of horror in there. It's basically just a really intense, fun ride. And it is our first feature. It opened December 3rd, and it was truly a joy and an amazing amount of hard work that just paid off the entire thing. I worked with it from script to selling it. And I really enjoyed every different department, every process, every stage. That's not true. I did not enjoy learning the legal side, but I did learn it, and I have conquered it, and that feels good. But it's been a fun ride and a different ride. I'm doing the publicity tour right now, and I've often done that as an actor. And though I am also in this movie, this really is a different thing when you carry the movie and you carry the jobs of the people and the passion of the people who made it. It feels really different when you talk about it. And so that's also a fun new journey I'm on.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. We've taken that ride before. We can really relate and identify with what you're saying.
You have. Yeah.
I guess my question, just to start, since you brought it up, and a lot of this audience are either film lovers or aspiring filmmakers, and they're facing the same level of intimidation towards the unknown, going towards the unknown that you just talked about. Can you speak about some of the specifics in the legal department that really gave you the most angst?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Deliverables. It's a terrifying word. It's a horrible, terrifying word, and it should be, because it's something that people throw around like, oh, that's something you need in deliverables. Do you have your deliverables? Did you do your deliverables? Did you save enough money for deliverables? But it's like a whole category of production. It's not this little thing. It's not a few contracts. It should be pre-production, production, post-production, and deliverables or sales. It's like a whole separate thing. And you really do need to have almost a legal degree, because unless you have lawyers who are truly working for you, like working for you, not hourly, you've got to learn a ton of stuff. And, what is that stuff? Basically, you should have your own template. If you want to make a movie, you should have your own templates for contracts. And you can definitely go online and you can get a few basic ones and sort of put your company's masthead on that. But at the end of the day, when you are really successful, like we were with Persona, and you sell the movie for real, you need really solid contracts, and you need solid answers to all the questions that the companies have for you. We can get more in detail because it's just, there's so many different things, but mostly it's just the shock of they want answers for everything and they want paperwork for everything. And if you're not a lawyer, you've got to quickly get a bunch of producers who have templates and ask them for that, because otherwise that's going to cost you a ton of money, which is what people are talking about when they say, do you have the money for the deliverables? It's stuff like you have to do a copyright search report, right? What is that? I don't know. I have no idea why I would need to do that as a filmmaker. But as a producer, you realize, they need to make sure that your title is the only one that is connected with this movie, and that's a legal process. And so you need a lawyer and you need a legal document, and that costs money and it takes time. And that's just stuff that you're supposed to already be sort of working on when you're doing the post-production, like editing and things like that. And just to be honest, that was something I just had no idea was this vast. And it ended up taking a lot more time in the post-production process.
In the end, did you end up going with like a Rosen Law or just a law firm, or did you try to do this stuff yourself?
I did it myself, and I piecemealed legal help when I needed, simply for budgetary reasons. And also because I'm a bit of a nerd. We talked about this a little before. Yes. I'm excited to be on this podcast because
we're the Voltron of nerds.
Yeah. Yes, I'm with my family.
Yes.
I like getting into the nitty gritty, and I like understanding it. And when you hear, that's going to cost $25,000, but really it's just for the information they have and the templates they have and their actual time, you go, well, let me try that. Can I try and figure this out? It was hard. I would absolutely love to have a lawyer on staff on my next job, but it is also, you can do it.
I really do think this is a great place for AI to come in and help. And I think that I've cleared up a bunch of small legal things at the producer level with using AI so far. It's been really helpful. And it's funny, Nick, we were talking about this like in 2018 or 19, me and you, that the whole deliverables process was antiquated. You know, the distributor will send you a 65-page booklet and then you got to like fill out everything. And it's like, there should be an app that just does all this stuff for you. Yeah. And I would say the other thing, and
so is that what we're doing on this podcast? We're going to work on that and we're going to become billionaires, because that's really smart, because it really does need to be from the beginning. You need to have somebody doing that and making sure you're keeping your contracts from the beginning and all that kind of stuff.
So that's what I know that Chris was going to mention, because that's what we always say. I mean, it's everything from the beginning, right? It's like if you if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Right. And we've said that in so many different industries and so many different places. And I think sometimes we don't say it about things like film because we don't think about it as something that needs to be planned out. We don't plan art, right? We create. And the creative process is something that is spontaneous, right? And it's this innovation, and it doesn't have to follow a model, but the model is required in the business of the art. So if we knew at the beginning that we needed to do these things, then chances are we could save ourselves a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of heartache. And then for us, it's like, as a filmmaker, maybe in your journey of networking, meeting other people, you'd realize that you don't need to just meet other actors or other producers. You need to meet some lawyers along the way, right? Make some friends.
Definitely need, if you're
line producers. I want all line producer friends. I just want all of them to come to me. 100%. They, you know, it's so true what you're saying, because the truth is the people who are attracted to making film are people who love to collaborate and talk about creative things, and they want to touch things and feel things and emote things. But the people who are attracted to the legal side of how things get done are the people that we need in the business too. And they're just different people. A lot of times there are very few people that really love learning the nitty gritty and love talking, you know, hypotheticals and art and color and palette. And so it's so true. You don't want to just meet the people who will inspire you creatively. You need the people who will also rein you in a little, or just say, hey, that's really great. I love that you're having that conversation. Have you signed these contracts? Have you put these things in? And that's what I think we miss a lot. That's why I say line producers, because they never care about story in my situations, at least. They just want to know how to get it done. And that used to drive me crazy. And now I'm like, oh no, I see it. We're both valuable, and together we make a really great team. We need both sides of that coin.
Yeah, a line producer is a strange person, because it's a person who really starts to get quite hot over spreadsheets.
Yes.
And it's like, settle down. It's just Excel, but they love it. And you know, the other thing that, and I don't necessarily have beef with it, but it's just like, it's this weird thing that happens where you talk to a would-be distributor and you're like, oh, don't worry, I have a guy or a gal who's going to do these deliverables for me. I don't want to pay the price for your team to do it. And they'll have like a BitMax go in and do it, or someone, you know, another entity like that goes in and will do all your deliverables for you for a price that comes out of the front end of your profitability. And you say, no, I've got a great editor. She's going to do it. It's going to be, and they're like, well, okay, we could do it, but, you know, it's going to cost you this amount of money. And, you know, if we run it through our process and it doesn't work, then you're just going to use this anyway. And you would have wasted all that time and money, and they scare you so much. It's like the perfect retort, because it's such a scare tactic. Because as an independent filmmaker, you're like, I don't have a minute to waste or a dime to waste.
Yeah, and you have people, you have that like passion, you have that dream on your back if it's something you've been dreaming about, or other people's, you know, hard work. And you just want to do it right, I think also. And also the real thing that people don't talk about is there isn't one way to go. There isn't one path. And so as you're doing it, you can kind of like figure it out on your own. And that could end up you facing a wall, or it could end up you facing an audience. And that's a really hard thing to figure out when you're in the middle of it. But it's a very scary process. And I think if the curtain was lifted a little bit on the deliverables, what you need at the end, at the beginning of the process, I think there'd be a lot more people making and succeeding at getting really beautiful art out.
Yeah,
the business side of it is what's hard.
They're using this deliverable as rev stream for themselves. And it's like, well, they'll have you questioning yourself. Like, am I being prideful? Am I full of hubris? Like thinking I can do this? Maybe I should just hand it over to the experts for a fee when, especially if they're not like you want to get into the details. You want to learn it and you're genuinely curious. I can tell that. But I've met a lot of creatives who are like, just keep that away from me. I want to write stories. I want to shoot stories. Yeah. That's what I want to do. And then you really do have to pay the piper.
Well, it sucks a little bit of your soul. I will say, I think hopefully I've learned to do it a little better so it won't do that. But like when I finished editing this movie I didn't edit, I'm sorry. When I finished with the editing process with the editor, the director, and we were doing the soundtrack and everything, like I was, oh my God, we've made the most amazing movie ever. This is fire. I can't wait for everyone to see it. And then you go down that road of deliverables and lawyers and people telling you about what is and what isn't possible with so many things. And it's just, it sucks the soul and passion out of it. And I can totally understand why some creatives say, you know what, that's not for me. Let me do the front end and let me have somebody else do that other thing so that I can just focus on my next creative thing. I think the only thing that's lost in that is I learned a lot about what I want to create next by seeing how they talk about your art behind your back, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm talking to lawyers and other people and really being able to just put on my producer hat. This is not my baby. This is not my art. We just want to get this done. We want this deal to work. And you hear how they talk about it. And I feel like that is really going to influence what I produce next. Where are you going to sell this? What is your audience? How are you going to promote it ahead of time? You know, what is your marketing strategy? Because these are things that, even though I am 100% coming at this from art and creativity, because otherwise I don't want to get up every day and do it. But I also, it breaks my heart when you make something that you love and people don't see it. So I want to make sure that the next time I put all of my passion and energy into something, it has the best chance of finding its audience. And that just is a different game these days. You have to have totally different hats. You need that business mind.
What a gift, Chris, by the way, to hear what people think of your art. That's, I think that's a superpower. If it hurts, maybe if you didn't hear what you wanted to hear, but I think it's a superpower. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, but it's nice to be willing and open. I know that Chris and I, over our several years in this game, have talked to many a filmmaker, and it's probably more, I think it's probably like a 80 to 20%, where 80% has got earmuffs on. They're just like, no, I don't want to hear it. And they're like, I don't need all those things, this other stuff that you're talking about. I don't need to focus on that because people will appreciate me for my art. They'll come to it because of the art. Yeah. And then if they don't, well, they just don't get it. Yeah. And we're like, that's not how the business of this works. Like, that's not how this works. So your art, maybe if you put it, it's like putting the art in the gallery and not inviting anybody to it. Yeah. Right. So it's like, they're not going to come. They're not going to even know to come. So there's this aspect of it. Like, yes, the creativity is important. The art of it is important. Your voice is important. But if that's all it is, then stop there. Be happy that you created it and be done, right? But don't get salty when people aren't watching it, the distributors don't pick it up. Don't get mad at the world for not accepting you when you didn't actually operate in the world that you're trying to be in.
Right.
So
when you said you didn't care if the world loved your art. You said you didn't care, so you shouldn't care. But the truth is we do care. You know, we do. And especially a movie like Persona, it is a thriller and it's super intense. And if you just like that edge of your seat popcorn vibe, great. You're going to love it. But there's also this undercurrent of it is, so the movie opens with a woman, unconscious, lying on the floor, mostly not clothed. Like her bits are clothed, but she's not wearing full clothes. And she's got a gash on her head. She's extremely injured. She can just feel there's a lot wrong with her and no memory. And as she slowly wakes up and looks around, the audience does the same. We have incredible cinematographer, just beautiful camera work. It's so alive, and you're discovering her situation with her, which is that she is clearly locked in this house. She discovers padlocks on the inside of the house. That's horrifying. There's no handle on the door. You look around and you see that really bad things happen here, and she's clearly taken, trapped, whatever that is, right? And then some point very early on, she discovers there's another woman in a hidden room, also taken, blindfolded and tied up. And the reason I say there's like another hidden message to all of this is the story is about two women of color who realize they've been taken, and they don't know what else to do but decide to fight to get out on their own. Because as we all know, we listen to the news, and if you are a person of color and you're kidnapped, there's a really, really high chance that literally no one is looking for you. No one is trying to save you. So if you find yourself in a house with padlocks, you're either going to stay there or you're going to get yourself out. Right. And so, as someone who does, love a good true crime story, as most women do, this one just was like, it's so interesting because it's really, the writer really thought about what it would be like and what you would do and how that would feel and how that would slowly sink in, that what situation you're in. And so it was just, there's the part of it that I love making good movies. And then there's the part where I love telling stories that are maybe not told all the time. And so this one felt important because it's two women of color in the lead as well, which we also don't see a lot of. But it's not about that per se, but it is kind of about that. And it's just a great story that's about women having to come, having to have a really interesting relationship that we don't normally see. And so I had to be a part of Persona and part of making that story, but I want audiences to see it, which is the point, right? You make that story, you're so proud of making it. We hired 50% women and 75% people of color so that we would really be telling a collaborative story. Mm-hmm. And if I just left it there, as we said, and was just proud of my art, then I think it'd be doing a real disservice to everyone who worked really hard to make this great movie. We also want audiences to just be bowled over by it.
What was the thing that hooked you on this story? I mean, obviously it's a dark story. It's in a popular genre, but what was it that got you about this? What made you want to produce this versus maybe your next idea or the idea you had before that or whatever?
Yeah. So I've always wanted to produce, like fully take it on, because I am a nerd and I love all aspects of production. And I'm the person who's standing on the set, like, what are you doing? What's that? Why'd you choose that lens? Like, why'd you do that light? I mean, what's that about? So, it seemed really fun to take on a project from the beginning. And this was not the one I wanted to do first because
this story didn't jump out at you right away?
No, it did jump out at me right away. Okay. And it scared me because I felt like when I read it, I read those first, 15 or 20 pages, which are just this woman waking up, realizing her situation. And every time I, as the reader, was like, she did it. She looked over there. She checked that out. Yeah. And I just thought, this is smart. For once, they're treating a woman in this genre with some brains, right? And so I loved that. And I loved that it was literally no dialogue for 15 minutes, yet I had been frozen in my seat holding that script because I was so into it. So I thought, great, if you get the right team, you can make the audience feel that frozen in their seat for 20 minutes, what's happening. Yeah. But that's the thing that kept ringing true, is that you need the right actors and you need the right team, or this is going to really just be another sort of average movie. And I thought, I want to be that person, but I need to do something first. I need to produce a couple of things first so that I have my team and all of that. And then I had my daughter, who was just a year and a half when we started shooting. And I was sitting with her in my living room one day with a friend and telling them about all these movies I wanted to do. And I was going to produce this other, sort of crappy one first just to get my, feet wet. And then I thought, what a stupid thing. Like, even just saying that, why would you spend all this energy and time producing something that you're not even in love with? Yeah, you're madly in love with this Persona movie. Let's just do it. Right. And my daughter was there, and I thought, what a great example for her to know that her mom, in the midst of being a scared new mom of a 1-year-old, not knowing which direction I want my career to go in. Because when you first have a baby, there's a lot of, it's change, it's upheaval in your life, and you're trying to figure out who you are as a mom, as an actor and a producer. Do I still have the same goals? And I just thought, I want to show her that I can do something really scary, and go all in and just be sort of a superwoman about it. Like, let's go. I'll be the lead producer. I've never done this all by myself before, but let's do it. And that's how it started. And every day I sort of thought I'd back out. And every day I'd be like, well, yeah, but if we don't land, And the best one came and said, we want it. We want to do it. I had an actress that was the only actress that I could possibly have in the role. If it's not her, we shouldn't do it. She's dying to do it. You're like, oh my gosh. Okay. I think we have something here. And I was scared every day, and I was nervous and thinking that I made a mistake every day on set, but then also having that moment where you realize you're doing the most incredible thing you've ever done. It was kind of a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, I love that. And before we get into some audience polls, can we watch this trailer?
Oh, please, let's do.
Yeah, I want to watch this trailer.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm stuck in a house. Hello?
Police say up to 8 women are presumed taken.
Oh my God. It's okay. Who did this to you?
I don't know.
You just relax. What's your name?
Samantha, how did you get here?
I don't know. All the doors are locked. There's wood over the windows, and I don't know my name.
So, rape or drugged? We gotta get the hell out of here.
Sam, we are trapped.
Hello? Help!
You have to control yourself.
We're on our own. Trapped in here. Waiting for a snake. Did we do something to deserve it? Maybe we're not so innocent.
No one deserves this.
Coming to get ya. I'm coming to get ya.
We have to fight.
Let me go, please, let me go.
We are gonna get out of this.
Heck yeah.
Love it.
Man.
Never going to
You're
stop
right.
being proud of it. A lot of people worked so
was
hard for
awesome.
that baby. Thanks.
Yeah, but you're right. You gave us just enough, but
Yeah.
didn't give it all away. So, it's like, okay.
I like
Yeah.
this.
See,
Who
I'm
cut-
a big.
who cut the trailer?
I really dislike trailers that give you even images of things that they shouldn't, because then you're waiting the entire movie for that time the helicopter crashes, or that time they get shot in the side, and it just feels like you don't enjoy it as much. So I was really particular that we didn't give away like certain things. Basically, the first 20 minutes of the movie is what you see.
Nice.
Who
I like
cut the
it.
trailer?
It really is an opening.
Do you know who cut? Do you know who cut the trailer?
Yeah, that's a bit of a story. We had the director gave a stab at doing a version of it, and
talking about Mike Ho?
Gravitas didn't love it. What's that?
Mike Ho?
Mike Ho, yes, he's our editor. It's phenomenal. He edits all of his stuff generally,
Shout out to
but
Mike
never
Ho.
has done an entire movie. And that was sort of my wish for this. I really didn't want to involve a third person, an editor, if they weren't going to be on set, hearing the conversations, hearing the intentions behind the shots. And we had really shot ourselves into, a box a lot of times too. We didn't do coverage on this movie. Not one shot looks like the other. No coverage. There's one scene where
Impossible.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Exactly. It's so beautiful. If you're just a fan of
Oh my
DPs
goodness.
and creative cinematography, you're going to love this movie.
Okay.
But so we shot really quickly, and I have been working with Bentley Kyle Levins on his many, many shows for Bounce TV over the years. And one thing that he does really well is he plans. and then he shoots like a maniac because he knows that actors, we actually, once we're in the zone, so to speak, we can go really quickly. We're in the character. We have these lines. We can be more natural. And so what takes a lot of time is all of the pausing and the stopping and the resetting up for new shots. And then the actors are out of their flow, and you just add so much time. And so what we do with Bentley is we rehearse for probably a week on 3 entire weeks of episodes. And we just say them a bunch, and we do blocking, and we just kind of get it in our body. And that way on the day, we shoot probably, I think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to lie to you. I think we shoot 42 scenes a day. And we can do as many takes as we want. It's not like, okay, get it done. That was it. We can't go. You can go as many times as you want. Because if you think about it, just saying 42 scenes in a row doesn't take time, right? Yeah. It's all of the stuff in between. And that's how we shot Persona as well. It was trust your actors, trust the cameraman and your DP to know where to go. I have to shout out Daniel. Please look this up for me, Papa Bear. He is our first camera operator, and he literally came to me the first day and he said, "Let's dance. Let's just dance." Yeah. And he meant it. When I moved, he moved. He countered me. Like he was crying in scenes that I was crying in, because as a camera operator, he was in it. He was not a third wall or fourth wall. He wasn't glass. He was a body emoting with me. And because of that, we could shoot so fast. We didn't have to readjust because I turned here. He felt I was going to turn, and he turned with me, and he caught it. And it's more alive when you're moving. So, our DP, Anthony Kimata, had a great team, and he's the one who sort of got Daniel, but Daniel also was amazing. So
it's an amazing experience right there. Yeah. But Chris, I wanted to take it back to just one last thing was.
Oh, please.
I think, earlier, I think you were mentioning this idea of, people commenting on your work, and you get to hear what they say behind your back, kind of thing. And we've had some of these experiences, and I think about at the end when it's done, you talked about it being a thriller with a splash of horror. Yeah. But when you splash something in there that someone likes, especially in the industry, right? Horror sells. There's a whole, audience that is just voracious for horror. Yeah. So when you have the splash of horror and someone senses the blood in the water, then they might want you to change things in order to be more horror. So things that I think about when you said at the beginning, you have this woman, you see her in this room, and she's not fully clothed. Her bits are covered. Well, I can imagine that you heard some people say, well, can we reshoot that and just uncover her bits, right? Or I know you did this scene where exactly. I know you did this scene and she was bleeding from here, but can we get a little more blood splatter? Did you get any of that because you were kind of straddling the line a little bit between thriller and horror?
It's so interesting. I would have thought that would be the stuff we got, but no, we didn't get any of the, it should be more horror-y. People liked where we landed with because we tried really hard not to do jump scares, like scares for no reason. The horror is in there because there is a psychological element to what is going on to these women. And you can be trapped in a house of horror or trapped in horror in your mind. And I don't know that you would know the difference. And so that's where the horror comes from. And we just wanted it to be a real element. And we didn't get any pushback from that.
Perfect.
We spent a lot of time with those elements that you're talking about, how much blood. We tried to do everything practical because post work costs money, but it also, as we've talked about, is just not quite as real. It's getting close. AI's almost got you, but right. No, it's not the same. And especially when you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to have the top AI artists, you really need things to look good, real, and right away. And so I had the honor of working with, again, I hired women and people of color that are so supremely talented, but they're just not normally thought of for these positions. And one of them is a woman named Megan Grays, and she has been doing beauty makeup on women of color forever because she's fabulous and a woman of color, and she can do that. But no one really trusted that she could do SFX and that she could do guts and gore and cuts. And she loves that. And so we gave her that opportunity and she just hit it out of the park. I mean, we had very little VFX to do because everything was so real and great. And she had such a gentle touch with it too. It was really interesting. I've worked with gore before, but it was different having, her touch on it. It really changed the way that I felt about the wounds and stuff. Like she came at it from a place of, she would ask me, okay, if he grabbed you like that and squeezed, like where would his fingers be and what would it really hurt and why would that hurt you? And then she would design the cuts around that. So it was interesting. And she was a huge help in making the horror really real. From the distributor, the only things that we got comments on were the posters and the trailer. They had no notes on the movie, which was wonderful. I won't say that that's because every single person who saw it was like, oh, this is the best movie ever. It was a really strange mixed bag. Like, in general, men of color watch the movie and think it is one of the greatest movies they've ever seen. This is a strange demographic
That's interesting.
thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Men of color really get this movie and really love it. Women who like true crime and anything like that love the movie, but in a very different way. They want to have deep conversations about it. They see it as a psychological thing. They want to, see it with other people and talk about it. And I found that movie fanatics and other genre or other demographics don't get it at all. Don't understand the movie. And I don't really know what, because I haven't had one overarching, we don't like this or we don't get this. But in general, they're very meh. Oh, okay. And then you'll have someone, like I said, from one of those pockets of people that are just like, oh my gosh, this movie changed my life. This movie is so good. I can't believe it. It's so beautiful. It's so creative. And that is one of the main things I learned being more of a business person, listening to the conversations, is it's okay if everyone doesn't like your art. You have to 100%. Find the people who really love it. And then maybe try and understand what they love about it and try and gear what you're going to make next to sort of, go in the same direction maybe, or in a different direction. But just to understand it and to appreciate that then when someone in a different demographic says something, take that with a grain of salt.
I said that so many times in 2024 that
did you?
It's unbelievable you said that, because it's so true. It's like if everybody likes your movie, nobody likes it. It's almost like it's a weird thing, because there are some incredibly popular movies, right, where everybody likes it. But what I really mean by that is it should polarize you, and maybe you like being polarized. So there's a movie, you were talking about great makeup artists, and shout out to Megan Grace, with the Substance with Demi Moore. It just came out. And that's a movie that I hated, but I needed to see.
Interesting.
If that makes sense. It's like,
did you hate it after seeing it? Is that what you're saying?
I would never watch it again, but
same.
Because it's not my thing. But I recognize that I needed to see it. I recognize that it's absolutely great. And I recognize that the nominations for Demi are valid. And her actual, the co-actress in it was amazing as well.
She's wonderful as well.
And her name's escaping me right now, but she's been in a few things and I've seen her in. She's really fantastic and underrated. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those things where that's an incredibly polarizing movie, but if you're not paying attention, I mentioned Conclave in our pre-talk, having watched that. If you're a highly religious person, you're not going to be interested in being confronted with the storyline of this movie, but you need to watch it and you need to recognize what's good and great about it. And Nick, I know why you brought up the story you brought up, or the question you brought up, because it is in the indie world, the difference sometimes, unfortunately, between getting 0 MG and some MG. And for us, that swing was, I think at the time, this is like almost a decade ago now. Wow, Nick. It was $50,000, and I don't mind talking about it because our audience is hungry for the real information, inside baseball. It's like
exactly.
It's like this distributor that I won't say the name, but the guys, they thought we should have sexied up Kate Upton a little more, right? Who was in the movie? They thought we should have done that. And because we didn't, the MG changed, the minimum guarantee changed.
Yeah.
They thought they could have sold. Basically, what they're saying is we could have sold this a lot easier had Kate Upton sort of lived up to her stereotype here.
Yeah, and they're probably right.
And they're probably right, but we didn't want to do that on purpose.
Yeah,
because it was a woman-led film.
That's not what you were going for, right?
So it was a female-directed film, female-produced film. So why would they do that? That's what we're talking about,
where the business and art meet. You guys didn't want to make that business choice that they wanted you to have made. Do you regret not making that business choice now?
No, but we regret not signing other contracts like guarantees of promotion and publicity.
Oh,
so things like that. That's what we regret more than anything, because the movie did well, but it would have done really well if Kate had done our little roadshow for it at the time. Because this was before she married Verlander, or like at that same time, and she hadn't gone into sort of fitness mom mode yet, which is I think the world she lives in now.
Yeah, so she switched her persona.
She switched her. Look at you.
Persona.
You like that? And the film did not align with the new persona. So, but again, like Chris said, had she been contractually obligated to support it, then it would have been a totally different thing. But I think that is a place where you do have to make the decision about the potential for, it is potential. It's not a guarantee of additional profitability had we done that, right? It's not a guarantee.
Right,
not
exactly.
So,
they just thought it would be better if you'd made
It's just status
choice.
quo, Shanti. It's just status quo. And look, you mentioned, and then Papa Bear, I promise, audience polls right after this comment. But just because there are so many people that will hear what Shanti said about like, oh, if a girl of color or a woman of color is missing, there's a good chance nobody, is even going to know about it. And that seems like a sort of like, oh, of course she would say that kind of thing. By the way, it's also a really great Patrice O'Neal joke from the stand-up Elephant in the Room. But so go watch Elephant in the Room. Shout out to Patrice O'Neal. I just did behind all of your backs. I have a secret. Look at you.
Well done.
You freaking a-holes. Just looking behind you. What a bunch of geeks. Anyway,
we're goobers.
I love it. Yeah, what a bunch of yahoos. Anyway, I Googled now this is dangerous in 2025. I Googled young black girl escapes. I just wanted to see.
What did you get? That's terrifying to Google that.
The entire first page, Shanti, were different stories of 12 and 11-year-old girls escaping kidnapping that you've never heard of from 2024.
Oh, dear.
So this happens so often, you wouldn't believe it. I didn't even go to the second page. It's probably pages and pages. This is happening all over the country and all over the world, Chris, and you don't hear anything about it. And young girls are escaping captivity all the time, apparently.
Chris, here's the point, though.
It's shocking.
So, and here's the thing you can also do behind our backs, right? How about you do the other one, which is young black girl, young missing black girl found. Because there's a difference. And I think that's the point that Shanti is making. Yeah. Exactly. Because that's the other part of it. I think because there have been statistics. We've seen this at different times in our lives.
You're doing it right now.
They'll share the statistics about, how many girls of color are found versus those who are not of color, and how many of them have been found. They even talk about the press coverage of them, right, and how they're different. So here's
the thing about that. I went on a whole deep dive because I was doing this story and I was doing the interviews, and we all sort of know in general that, women are not looked for enough, period. And unless you're a cute little white girl, you don't end up on the news. So therefore, there's a lot of people not being found. But the thing is, they can't do statistics on what they don't know. Right. So, there are so many lists of Caucasian women that are missing, and the lists of people of other colors are just not complete, not made, not tracked, not counted. And of course, they don't actually do lists of white girls and black girls, but the facts are that most black women do not end up on these lists. So they end up being lists of mostly white women. And that's for like a number of reasons that you really, again, cannot pin down. It's, the police don't always believe that they're actually missing. The families don't actually report them because they're homeless or there's just about a million reasons. for this difficult issue, which is why to make a movie like this, right? It's not to point fingers and blame and say, oh, look, the world is racist and there's nothing you can do about it. It's actually not that at all. It's, we should be having these conversations so that we can start getting a hold of this problem and understanding that this is a real thing. There are a lot of women who are in need of help. And, and also as women who might end up needing help, it's kind of interesting to see what other women might do. I think there's a little sickness in women watching true crime. I think that's why we do it. We want to know, what should we do if we end up in this situation?
Right. I think that's the exact way. I think that's the exact way to promote it. I think people are going to go out and watch it in droves for that reason. And there's actually a podcast called Black Girl Missing Podcast, and I would say after this podcast, that would be the next one I would
love
because
to.
Because I think that audience would just watch this movie right away. And, that Google search, Nick, was kind of sad. I did it. I did what you asked. And almost every one of them was Black girl found dead. So it was kind of unfortunate.
Ooh.
But
so
I've
been down that rabbit hole before.
Escapes is a little bit more hopeful. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Well, on that dour note, PB.
I know.
Can you drop some audience polls on this?
Audience poll time.
Yes, let's do it.
Yep. Intern Sam left us a couple of pretty good audience polls.
Shout out to Sam.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, we haven't talked much about Shanti's first career. She was a dancer. And so poll number 1 is, which dancing movie is the best? It's a multiple choice.
Okay.
And the choices were Dirty Dancing, Footloose, Saturday Night Fever, and Grease. And the results of the poll, Dirty Dancing was on top with 41%.
See, Shanti's
Thank you.
Shanti.
That was really the only answer.
Okay.
Nice.
But what about Footloose? 24%.
I mean, it's good. It's good, and it's a fun movie, and I kind of think it's more of a bop, is what you'd say. You want to bop along, and you have a good time. But Dirty Dancing, there are so many people who wanted to be Baby, or wanted to be Patrick Swayze, or wanted to be the other, you want to be the girl flying, or, it was a whole pop culture moment.
Okay.
Absolutely right.
Footloose tied with Saturday Night Fever, also 24%.
Yeah.
Also a good one.
That means somebody had to
Kevin
come in
Bacon?
dead last. That means somebody had to come in dead last.
Yes, that's right.
Dead last
Grease.
with 11% Grease.
Olivia Newton-John, is that right, PB?
That's
I
right.
think that's right.
That's right. Miss Olivia
Shout out to
Newton-John.
Olivia Newton-John, rest in peace. And I think that could be recency. It could just be it came in last because it's the oldest one, right?
No, I thought I had a different theory, which is it's actually the only musical. So I feel like people don't think about it being a dancing movie. They think about
Isn't Saturday Night Fever a
musical.
musical? Kind of.
He's right. That's the only technical musical on the list.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at you nerding out. Good job,
See,
nerd.
that's right.
But don't people love musicals, Shanti? Aren't they so in? Think
People
about
love
Amelia
to hate
Perez.
musicals and people love musicals. It's one or the other. I'm a love musicals, but not all musicals. It has to be a good musical. But no, there's lots of people who don't love it. In fact, there are plenty of people who didn't love Wicked because it was a musical, which was the best part of it. So I don't know.
And how could you not expect it not to be a musical? So there were 3 musicals of distinction this year. It was Joker, Wicked, and Amelia Perez. And for my money, I will take Amelia Perez as the winner this year. That was an unbelievable movie. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. I just have never seen anything like that movie.
And you probably have never seen anything like Joker either, but everybody was kind of like, wah, wah.
Well, it's not hard because what you have is 2 people who had a big idea and they just wanted to create their art and they put their passion into it and they had great performances and they had great set design and great DPs and they had all the elements, and one is unbelievably amazing and will live on forever, and the other is literally a punchline. And that thing is what gives me anxiety at night, because you can believe in something and believe in something so hard, and if you get 50 no's, do you keep going or do you quit? And the thing is that I was just reading a podcast we were talking about audiences. You might get those 50 no's from people that are just not in your audience, and you're just waiting to find your audience, like Jason Blum with Heredity.
Yep.
Heredity.
Hereditary.
Is that the name of it?
Yep.
Hereditary.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. But he asked everybody for 4 years. He begged people to pick up this movie. He knew it was going to be huge. And he didn't want to let it go because he had been burned by the Blair Witch Project. He had told everyone that was nonsense. I'm not buying that. That's terrible. And then it made more money than any movie of all time, practically. So he was not going to take no for an answer on Hereditary. What is it?
Yeah. Hereditary. You got
Hereditary.
Thank you. Hereditary. And that's what gives me anxiety is he just knew to keep going on that one. And that movie is, again, made his career. It set him on a platform where he can make all the movies he wants and do what he loves. But he got 4 years of no's, 4 years of not just no, that's trash. This is horrible. And it wasn't the script. It was the full movie, the exact movie, the way we saw it in theaters. He got, that's trash for 4 years. And then he, kept going, and he gave audiences what they really wanted. And again, that's just what gives me anxiety at night, is to know whether you should keep pushing because you have gold, or whether maybe you've made a joker,
or platform. But I think here's the thing. Yeah, but you mentioned about your audience and knowing your audience, and I think that's what it was for me. Was it was probably great. Yeah, it was probably great. It
was a bait and switch
platform.
It was a bait and switch.
For me it was about,
they should have told their audience it was a musical.
But take that musical. Well, we knew. I'm just saying, like, if you're following that stuff, you
seemed
knew.
like enough of the audience didn't know.
But the thing is that you take that to Broadway.
Yes,
go
right.
there and do it for the people who are there for a musical. Yeah. I don't think that the audience, especially after the first Joker, was ready for a musical.
They didn't want it to be a musical.
No, maybe some elements.
Too many people, Nick, saw themselves in the Joker. It's the same people who unapologetically and are dogmatically supporting Luigi right now. It's the same people. I don't mind having a debate about Luigi. I certainly don't. I'm not going to dig my heels in the ground on it. But I know people who felt like he was basically the Joker. Right. And they wanted to be him. They wanted to be like that. That's the new hero. It's no longer Batman. It's people like the Jokers, the forgotten about. And what are we going to do about being forgotten about? What are we going to do about being hosed over by society? We're going to turn to this guy. And then you make a musical about it, and it sort of dampened that sense of revolution in them. Right.
Yeah, but it's also the anti-superhero comic book scene. Yeah. I think so. I think totally. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I think you're absolutely right in that vein. But I think the other side of it is that the comic book folks were looking for an extension of their experience, and that experience is not a musical. Honestly, you can go to a bunch of guys who are comic book guys, and it's like, do you enjoy musicals? It's like, oh, absolutely not. So they should have gone. They should have gone.
They just reached too far. It was just one reach too far. I think there is an audience for seeing those two actors do a love dramedy musical, but it was not the Joker audience. You're absolutely right. That's not what they expected to see. That's not what they wanted to see. And they didn't just dabble in either. They went all the way.
They went all in. They were going to go all the way in. And look, shout out to Brandon Tamburi, who was associate producer on Hereditary and
Hereditary. Just in case you need to dub that over the many times that I said it wrong.
No, listen. If we ever dub anything, then it's going to be my voice over you.
Over me. I love that.
But Hereditary.
Perfect. Now editor Kate can put that over every time you said it wrong. And thank you, Nick. And shout out to Adam Schomer, a friend of the podcast, who did Selling Superman. So you guys want to watch a great documentary about sort of what Nick was talking about, that superhero culture. You can watch it on Amazon Prime right now. Okay, Papa Bear, second audience poll.
Second poll is, should dancing movies make a comeback?
Should they?
Really?
What are the options? Just yes and no, or are there three options?
Well, yes, no, and maybe.
Yes, no, and maybe. And okay, we let people ride the fence.
Coming in first place is no. 58%.
Oh, that's so sad. That's really sad.
Yes,
I think it's also true. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say yes is 21%. So that leaves
it's not enough to make a movie,
21% for maybe.
Well, so you have 42% of people who might be interested in seeing your movie. I guess that's
you were thinking just like I was thinking. I was literally about to come on those numbers. We're like 42%. That's pretty close.
It's not bad. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is about dance movies, Shanti, that they don't.
Are you ready for more independence as a financial advisor? Are you ready for more growth and control over your future? The Independent Registered Investment Advisor, or RIA, model might be right for you. There are many paths to independence, and Schwab Advisor Services has helped thousands of advisors make the move with confidence. From defining your vision to successfully transitioning your clients, Schwab helps you build your roadmap to independence. To find your path, start with Schwab Advisor Services at advisorservices.schwab.com/paths today.
You know, this is going to sound like a super cocky producer answer, but I just think it's like they haven't seen my dance movie yet.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I just think that people don't do dance movies right. Dance movies cost a lot of money because you usually hire an outside choreographer and dancers need weeks and weeks of rehearsals. And so one dance scene costs literally like $200,000-$400,000. So, you know, you're just not going to get indie dance movies, which is really what you need. Every time a genre really has like a turnaround or a reinvigoration, it's because somebody made an indie version of it, doing something a little different, adding a little spice, you know, doing something that surprises the audience. And they only take those chances in indies, and it's just too expensive to do indie dance movies. So you only get the big studio production movies, which are really fun for the 21% of us who like those. But the 21% that are like depends, and the other 58%, they just want something different. They don't want the Joker different, clearly, but I think they want something that lives in the Amelia Perez world. Like, surprise us. Let us see dance in a different way. At least that's my hope, because I would really like to do a dance movie that people actually like.
No, how many biracial relationships, Nick, do you think came from the movie Save the Last Dance?
Oh, wow.
I mean, I just felt like there was an explosion of biracial relationships after that movie. Dance movies have impact, man.
Well, they do. And I was going to say, it's like, you know, I was joking, of course, because remember, I think it was back in the South when they were like, you know, people don't dance no more.
They don't dance.
This.
Oh, you're talking about.
All they do is this. You know?
You're talking about Goody Mom. You're talking about Goody Mom.
Yeah, there you go. It was Goody Mom. So, but the thing is that I feel like it's somewhat true.
I think that's Goody Mom.
I don't think people dance like they used to. And what I mean is, it's like when you used to watch music videos.
Yeah.
It was a thing, man. And it wasn't just a thing that there was dancing in the video, but it was also that people were the artists, the singers, the performers, they were dancing themselves. I just had the kids watching Michael. I was like, y'all got to watch this. Right? When
you mean your kids?
He got up on the toes. Yeah, my kids. And they were watching, and it's like, look, you got to understand, like, he's singing and he's dancing. Like, that's a thing that people used to do. I mean, even back, you know, I think about Sierra. Like, who's replaced Sierra? I don't know.
So here's the real issue. I'm a great person to talk to you about this. I was a video dancer when I first moved here. I wanted to be an actor, but I was able to access dance education in Colorado, where I'm from. So I moved here, quickly toured with Earth, Wind and Fire and NSYNC, and did all sorts of music videos in the heyday of music videos, when they were literally spending $3 million on 3 minutes of content, because there was a thing called TRL. And if you end up on TRL, then everybody buys you. You know, it's just, it was the world. And that's actually how we ended up with Mike Ho as our director, because Mike Ho is a music video director. And I've always believed music video directors are geniuses in the making. They get so much money. They have to make every shot look good and beautiful, because you have Jennifer, who's like, well, I want to do this facing this way with 6 girls around me, and I want to do it right now, but also I better look good. You know, and so they have to deal with so many personalities and so many difficult situations, but they also get all the toys, so they get to be really creative. And so it was actually my work in that made me really love movement in the camera and playing with being, you know, sort of one when you're acting as well. but yeah, the dance world is different now because you don't have, or the music video world specifically, because you don't have TRL type. There's not a place for your music video to land and make money. You can put it out on YouTube, you can put it out, but like
on Vivo,
how much is it really going to make you? And so you have less people dancing in those. There's less of a career in that. There's less of a career in touring than there used to be. There's only a few big tours out there with dancers. But the one thing that's kind of weird is everyone's sort of a good dancer now, at least in TikTok dancing, right? Like everyone can sort of like do this basic
Me and Papa Bear rant about this all the time. It's like,
they only, like, this is great, send it, but they can't move their feet or something.
They can't move their feet. So it's like all slow.
Maybe we need to do a movie that is just face dancing, like a dance video.
Remember, it's instead of it's D in the box. It's dance in a box.
Dance in a box.
Dance in a box. Exactly. Well, to your point, Nick, like we grew up on that like sharp sort of athletic movement of Michael Jackson and dancers of that ilk, and TikTok dancers just don't really move like that all the time.
Man. And we used to go to the clubs. Now. Listen, man, and I hate to put that old head on, but it's like we used to go to the club and dance. You had like choreographed moves. You have dance competitions on the floor. Like it was a thing that we would do. And then it's like as I got older, I was like, you go to the clubs and you just. You know what I'm saying? Whatever space you can get, you know what I'm saying? You just kind of bounce. Like you said, you bop. That's about it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then now it's just a couple little moves. Like you said, you can TikTok, the TikTokification of dance. Yeah. And it's not like basically, Shanti, you said it, there's an athleticism, I think that I miss in watching dance, and it's just not there anymore.
It's just not. It'll come back. I think everything's cyclical. People will get tired of seeing you dance in a box, and they'll want to see you dance bigger with your legs, and that's me. I'm a trained dancer, so I miss that. I would love to do like Dancing with the Stars and learn all those kinds of things. I love that, but not everybody does. I hope it comes back in fashion sometime soon, though.
Yeah, there's a desire to democratize everything that's hard. As a musician, I've noticed that hits us hard. Like you can spend your whole life learning how to be a concert pianist, and then there's just a kid who can buy an app and play just as good as you. Just press a button, but he really can't. But he can give the appearance, the facade of it, and that's why you need Dancing with the Stars. That's why you need talent shows, live performances, tours, so you can display the talent so that that person, that audience member knows it's really real.
All right. Well, and before we go to things we should know, I just got to say,
we need to pay some bills.
We got to do that too. Yeah. But I love the idea of the Dancing with the Stars. I've watched a couple, but I'm saying I love.
For those listening, Nick is gyrating right now.
I am gyrating. I love Family Matters. It's one of my shows. I've had my kids watch Family Matters, but when they got Carl Winslow out there on Dancing with the Stars, and I don't think my man moved 47 centimeters to the left or to the right. And I was like, I love you, bro. I love Carl Winslow. Like, he's in my heart. Die Hard. Come on, bro. Like, I love you. But
it is a real eye-opener when you see certain people. Like, some people, it's just like they move exactly like how you imagine. And other people, you're like, really? Like, that's how you get from place to place?
No, he's carried.
He doesn't move. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't move. I felt bad for him. I was like, but again, he was out there smiling and grinning, and we got to see his face, and we're happy for him. Yeah, he's living his best life.
It's been a Carl Winslow kind of week. Chappelle brought him up in his SNL.
I haven't seen it yet. I have that saved. I need to watch it. Is it great opening?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah,
I thought you said don't watch it. I was like, what?
He's the GOAT. No, we're not going to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it with Carl Winslow. All I know is I think of him and I think about those elastic band jeans. That just sounds like it's so awesome. Because he's on TV in it. It's how is it possible? It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's so true. I had never processed that. You're making me really think about that. I'm like, you're absolutely right. He was wearing elastic jeans. Wow.
Poor Carl.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
Pay some bills.
Pay some bills.
Right back.
Let's do it
in just a few. Hey everybody, Chris here, and this episode is brought to you by the feature film Midas Man. What is Midas Man? Midas Man is the first, final, and most respectful cinematic portrait of Brian Epstein. Based on an original story, Midas Man explores the life of a man who struggles to find his place in the world. Brian Epstein is celebrated today as the visionary who signed the Beatles and creating the blueprint for modern artist management. Throughout the film, Midas Man traces Brian's life from his formative years to his meteoric success and the ensuing chaos as he managed some of the biggest acts in the world. The film delves into his close relationships with family and friends and his lifelong search for love, set against an extraordinary period of cultural change. It reveals the untold story of one of history's most remarkable outsiders. Though managing the Beatles was perhaps his most viable role, it was only a part of the 1,000 lives Brian Epstein lived in just a few short years. And without further ado, I'd like to show you guys a trailer of Midas Man, which you can watch on the Olin Network. That's OLYN. So you get there, OLYN.com. You can also find it some other places as well. But be sure to support Midas Man, support indie filmmaking, support filmmaking in general. Promise you won't be let down by it. So enjoy this trailer.
Cha-cha boom! The Cavern Club, Liverpool. The moment my life changes forever. Everything suddenly becomes so clear. May I come in?
Oh, if you do, one of us will have to come out.
Time to shine. Those boys will be bigger than Elvis.
How was that, Mr. Martin?
I think there's some promise.
Some promise.
And we're back to the show. And let's hop into, and we're working you pretty hard here, Papa Bear. We're working you to the bone here.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you're going to do a things we should know as well?
I'll get a bonus, right?
I think so.
You like that? To the
bone.
To the bonus. Working into the bonus.
You're going to bone
so
us.
Smart. Wait,
Chris, what are you doing? What are you doing, Chris?
Trying to get us censored? What are you doing?
Exactly.
Settle down.
Yeah.
Okay. Papa Bear, will you give us a thing we should know?
We should know.
I will. But first.
Why does everybody keep saying that to me tonight? I keep telling everybody what to do, and they keep saying, well, first I'm going to.
It's right. What you got, PB?
What is it?
We were talking about dancing. And,
okay.
My young adulthood, it was during the disco era.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem was I had nothing to go on between the disco era and kindergarten to third grade or second grade when we were required to learn how to square dance. I don't know if people square dance anymore, but it really doesn't work in the disco era.
No.
So,
dude, I remember that. It's crazy.
Because, you had to square dance?
Yes, I remember that.
It's a class they taught in high school.
Dance. I'm jealous.
Yes,
I did.
I forgot all about that. Yes,
in school.
We had
in school.
Yep, in school we had to do that.
Wow, I even went to like a country type school and I didn't learn to square dance. It's actually one of the only styles I don't really know very well, and I'm sad about that. Papa Bear, I'm coming over later and we're going to learn to square dance.
Learn how to square.
Okay, well,
I love it.
You got a dosey dough. That's all I got to say.
It took me all the way to second grade to get going on it.
All the way to second, huh?
Yeah, you got a dosey dough and you got to turn your partner around. That's what
round and round.
Round and round.
Yeah, it's the most monogamous dance style, so that's why I was taught in school.
I love
Chris.
All right, PD.
I think you and Nick will love this one because there's no year in it to know, no date to come up with, no person's name to bring out of obscurity.
Okay.
So this one is a little different.
That is a little different.
Okay, we're ready.
Yeah.
What do the films Hocus Pocus, Memoirs of a Geisha, and In Search of Dr. Seuss have in common, particularly with Shanti Lowry?
All right. Shanti Lowry.
Shanti
has something in common with
these
House
three
of
films.
the Memoirs with the House of the Geisha.
Memoirs of a Geisha.
Memoirs of a Geisha.
Hocus
Pocus with Cher.
The original?
The original with Cher and Winona Ryder. Is that the one, PB?
Was it Bette Midler?
I think it's Bette Midler.
It's Bette Midler. It's 1993, yeah.
Hocus Pocus. That's one of my.
Oh, no.
I feel like my sister loved that movie.
Do you guys really not know I starred in all three of those? Starred in and produced them myself. Did you not
Exactly.
know that?
We should have known
Wait,
that.
so
do your research.
That's the thing we should know.
how should we answer what is the format of the answer? Are we? It's not a name. It's not
Yeah,
what,
you could say
what are we
that,
saying?
This is Jeopardy.
They're all movies, and Shanti's made a movie, and you could say all kinds of things.
What's the last
But-
movie again? It's a documentary.
Oh, In Search of Dr. Seuss.
That's a documentary, right?
No.
No, there's no way. That's not a documentary. Okay. Search of Dr. Seuss.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. Oh, God, I hit the mic. Hocus Pocus, In Search of Dr. Seuss, and Memoirs of a Geisha. Do you even know this about yourself, Shanti?
I
Do you know the
definitely
answer to
don't.
this?
I don't.
What
Is it a
movie?
person in common? Is there a crew member that worked on on all of these?
No.
Not really. Okay.
And it's laying right out there. You'll
Is that a hint? Laying? Is laying a
It's
hint?
laying right out there. Memoirs of a Geisha.
Is that the hint?
No.
Like that it's laying out there?
No, that's not the hint.
So there's this website, and I sent it to you earlier today, Papa Bear. It's called Network of Time. And basically you could put in like Shanti's name, and then you could put in, let's say, Bette Midler. And then it would tell you in photos how those two are related. And instead of like, you know how like the game is 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon?
Right.
Yeah.
Each degree of separation is represented in a photo. So it takes you down this photo ladder of, okay, Shanti knows this person knows that person, and it's proven in the photo that they know each other. They were in the same room together. And then at the very end, it'd be like, boom, and then there's Bette Midler. And
that's really cool.
It's the most awesome. You can really waste an hour on that website, Shanti.
I bet. What is the name of it?
It's called networkoftime.com.
Network of Time. What a great name. It sounds so big and amazing.
Yeah, it's networkoftime.com, and it's really simple to use. I mean, the form on it is not complex at all. It's like put name 1 on this side, put name 2 on this side, click enter.
Love it.
That's all you do.
Okay.
And then the rest of it's all fun. So
why don't you pull that up and put in Hocus Pocus?
Right, Memoirs of a Geisha. I'm thinking
it has to
like
be people,
written, directed by, and like starring women.
Ooh.
Love it.
So
Good answer.
That's a really good answer. Okay, so Nick, I'm going to write down that answer for you. You have it's written and directed by, you said by.
And starring women.
Starring women. Okay, it's all women. That is a good point. This is woman focused here. Hocus Pocus. What, Shanti? Do you have an answer?
I have no idea because I don't even know In Search of Dr. Seuss. That's the one that's kind of hanging me up.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, I have no answer. This is what I was worried about, that I don't even know myself. Thank you for teaching me that.
I'm going to say that they all have at least one scene of choreographed dancing.
Oh, good. I know the geisha has a beautiful dance scene. I know Hocus Pocus does. I don't know about the Seuss. I think that's a good answer.
All right.
Yeah, and the last one. Wait, and the last one that I have. This is
you're double dipping here.
Yeah, I'm double dipping. This is a shot in the dark, and I think
this is my answer. Just so you know, I sent it.
Okay, I'll let you double dip. I'll let you double dip since Shanti didn't give an answer. She's not going to give an answer. You're going to double dip. How about that?
Is that each of those movies features a woman disappearing?
Ooh, or someone who's like prisoner or something.
A woman.
Yeah, because I'm thinking Hocus Pocus, someone disappears. Memoirs of a Geisha, I'm thinking that someone is being disappeared
she's
in order to become a geisha. Yeah, held against her will. That kind of them, like maybe,
what a good answer I gave. I'm so glad that was what I thought of.
You're so good,
beautifully
Shanti.
done,
You're so
Shanti.
good.
Thank you.
Okay, so Papa Bear, drop it on us. What is the answer?
They were all made by directors who were formerly dancers.
Whoa!
Oh, wow,
So close.
really? What were
Their
do you
career
have the
path,
directors?
they began as dancers.
We were all so close on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Started
mix them
as
all
dancers and later became film producers and directors. Hocus Pocus was directed by dancer Kenny Ortega.
Yeah, amazing dancer.
Memoirs of a Geisha was directed by former dancer Rob Marshall. Rob Marshall.
Rob Marshall.
Do you know Rob Marshall, Shanti?
Oh, definitely. Don't know him personally. I know, obviously. Yeah.
He's well known.
And I knew he was a dancer.
In Search of Dr. Seuss was directed by dancer Vincent Patterson.
No way! Vince is like a very dear friend. How embarrassing that that's the one I didn't know.
That really
Vince
is a
Patterson
thing you should know.
Is a wonderful, amazing man, and I've worked with him. And he actually taught Michael Jackson so much. He taught Madonna how to dance on set. Like, this man is a legend. I'm so honored to work with him.
PB did it again.
You did it again.
You're right.
You really embarrassed me in my own life. Thank you.
This is actually a thing. Not just all of us should know, but Shanti, you should definitely know this. You can walk into a cocktail party with this.
I can. Next time I see Vince, I'm going to be like, "Hey, your movie."
Yeah.
I'm actually going to watch it first, but
no. You should do the do the whole things we should know. Like, hey, Vince, what do Hocus Pocus? Right?
Yeah. I hope you wrote down these movies.
Dr. Seuss. Yeah. Oh, I'll remember forever. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are about 5 or 6 dancers who later became film producers, directors, and probably Bob Fosse is the most famous. So I left his movie out to make it a little harder to guess.
Didn't he always want more smoke?
I'm sad, but
Bob
I think
Fosse
it wouldn't have even given it away. What's that?
Didn't Bob Fosse always want more smoke?
More smoke? I don't know.
Wasn't that his thing? More smoke on the set?
On the stage, yeah. I think that's right.
I didn't know that.
Well, didn't
Fosse
he do
trivia.
Fosse wants more smoke, yeah. I think that's
you don't want this smoke.
Speaking of stuff that you smell, I smell a little heat right now. I smell a little smoke. Yeah, I smell something's cooking.
It could have been the space heater that I had, or it could have been the fact that there's a culture check.
Oh my God!
I'm ready. I'm ready for the heat. Oh my gosh.
The first one in many, many moons.
Yeah, that's right. We've been doing some Q&A, and I had to bring the culture check back. All right.
Okay.
So here's the deal, Shanti. I love the fact that you are supporting the BIPOC community, people of color. That is amazing. And I myself, for those who are listening and don't know and haven't checked out the website or haven't checked out the YouTube channel, I am a person of color. I know that, if you're listening to me, you might not realize that. However, I am a person of color. So I live the life of a person of color. And what does that mean for someone like me? And what does that mean when I say that, someone like me? Well, I speak the way that I do. I went to the schools that I went to. I had a bunch of white friends who would tell me things like, Nick, why don't you act black? So I was kind of always living this life, right? Where I had my white friends who were like, you don't act black. And I had my black friends who were like, you act too white. It was like, exactly. I'm in that space.
Can I ask, where did you grow up? What state?
So I actually grew up in Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, so just outside of DC. So the thing is, I've been living this life, right? And one of the things that I have often struggled with, and probably still struggle with today, is should I emphasize? Should I step into? Should I live a life of blackness?
Oh gosh.
Right? Should I be in the space where I am seeking out other black people to do things with? Or should I just do things? And then the people who are attracted to the things that I do, the art that I create, the ideas that I have of any race, color, creed, religion, is that okay?
Right.
And being someone like yourself who has been in these different environments, right? And you're trying to support the community, I actually wonder, right? What's the answer? Do I double down on my blackness, or do I just double down on who I am and then whichever audience, whichever people, whichever whatever connects with me, that's okay. And the reason I'm asking the question is because, back to what you said, there is a sense of wanting to support a community. And there is a sense of, you know what, if I did double down, maybe I'd be more successful. Right.
More accepted, more successful. Yeah.
Exactly. But is doubling down on my blackness also my authentic self?
Right.
So that's the question. I was like, what is the answer? Do you double down?
What a beautiful question.
Be yourself?
My favorite part of that is that you even asked it, because I am a woman who, my mom is just white as can be. She turns red in the sun. She's a white girl. And my dad was African American and Cherokee Indian and Italian, but he was just black to the world we know.
Right.
And I wasn't raised by him. And I was raised in Colorado, where we literally had crosses burned on our lawn. It's something I saw.
Wow. And
I was terrified of my blackness. It was the thing that everyone hated. It was the thing that was wrong with me. It was the first thing that came into the room that I had to apologize for through my entire life. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and I walked into a room, and it was still the thing. My color was still the thing that led, but people wanted to know about it. They were like, "Ooh, what are you? What's that? What's your story?" And for the first time, it was like, this is a good thing. But I had a really hard time finding my own blackness, because I was raised by a white woman in a white culture and being told everything about me that's black is bad. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and all they wanted to do was cast me as a black woman. You're a black woman. You're a black actress. Here's your black job. You're the black dancer in this. And it was like, oh, this is the thing that makes me better here. Let me be black. How do I do that? I had all these same questions that you have. And the thing is, the black community, rightfully so, is very prickly about these conversations, because there's so many people who claim a black experience or say this is what being black is, and it puts people in boxes that they don't like. And so it's just a hard conversation to have. But it's so important, because you and I are not the only people who feel this way, who want to know, is my blackness the right way of being black? Am I being black enough? Am I being good to my black community? And I wish that I was someone who had an answer for you. Listening to you as just a friend, it made me say, of course, what you should do is be your authentic self, do the things that you love, and create the art that you want, and definitely reach out to people who are less fortunate than you, who possibly look like you, but maybe not change your whole life for that, because that's not who you are. That's not the situation you find yourself in. But then at the same time, if we don't reach back down the ladder to the people who are looking up to us, then what's the point of having a platform? So I struggle with that same thing. I made this movie specifically considering hiring 75% people of color, specifically because the story is about people of color being overlooked. And it just felt too hypocritical to not care about that in the filming of it. And then when I did that, I found such community, because I have been embraced by the Black community and Black Hollywood in a way that is just so beautiful. And my Black experience of having crosses burned on my lawn is still a Black experience. And I've come to realize that there's something in the middle. I am authentically myself, but I can authentically understand how I've gotten here and be grateful and pay homage to all that have come before. There's something in the middle, but really just talking about it and admitting it out loud, I'm so grateful to hear that coming from someone else who came from a totally different place with totally different experiences, that you too struggle with, am I being who I should be for society?
Yeah, well, I will tell you this, no matter where I grew up, no matter my diction and the way I speak, if you see somebody else of color walking down the street and they pass you, you do one of those. People who listen, they can't see it. I'm just going to do it real quick. You go,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
that's that upward head nod.
Mm-hmm.
People see you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, it's one of those things like you're connected because of your experience, regardless of what your experience was, because we all have an experience. We all have a relationship with our Blackness in some way. And I think you're right. There is something, you're going to feel the connection. And if you can help other people who just need, like you said, down the ladder, you reach back into your community, you reach out and find those opportunities to help people who may not even know to some degree how to help themselves. That can be people that look like you. That can be people who don't look like you. They just have experiences that might not have afforded them the same opportunities as you have. So I love that you're doing that in your own way. And, I can tell you're continuing to be your authentic self throughout it. You haven't changed who you are. You won't change who you are. But you're going to be a light wherever you go. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. I named my daughter Beautiful Shining Light, actually. I mean, it's Alora, and that's what it means, but that's exactly what I want to give to the world. I want to give light, so that everybody can sort of see what they want and get where they want to go. If you shine a light on everything, then everyone gets what they want. So I appreciate that.
And I was going to say, so my name, I love telling people this because they don't know. So my name is Nicholas, and it means victory of the people. My son, Noah, if you look that up, it also has to do with peace. So he has a Hawaiian middle name, which is Kekane Ho'omalu, which means the man of peace. And then my daughter is Olivia, which is, of course, related to the olive branch, which means peace. So, I'm a
You're
peaceful
all peaceful.
Kind of guy.
Yeah. If you have another son, Kai also means peace in Hawaiian. So
there you go.
There's another one out there. Yeah.
There you go.
A lot less.
How beautiful.
Could have saved some syllables there for him and some wrist pain and just named him Kai and been done with it.
No, Kekane Ho'omalu, the man of peace.
That's so beautiful the way you say it. Hawaiian is a beautiful language.
The way you say it is beautiful, Nick. The way I would say it would be wrong. So but I will say this: it's a really important question too, because if you don't bring up these differences within the culture, what people outside the culture tend to do is turn us into a monolith. And you saw this take place on the biggest stages when we heard someone say, if you don't, cast your whatever this way, then you ain't black. Right. And we can't say those words because of the restrictions. But that's an example of someone outside the culture saying, oh, wait, you're black, right? So you must do this. Or you're black, so you must love a fried rib. Right. And you're black, so you must love, all these stereotypically black things. And sometimes I wonder, I had a friend growing up and his mom would every single year on New Year's cook a pot of chitlins and the whole house would just smell terrible. And they'd be like, it's good. And you just put hot sauce on it, it's good. And it was disgusting. And I thought, are they cooking this? Shout out to Jay Lane. Love you, buddy. Are you cooking these because you're supposed to, or because you like them? And I always thought it was the latter. I thought it was because you're supposed to cook them. And it's a tradition. Yeah. And it's like someone's got to stand up and say, now, why are we doing this again?
What is this tradition about?
And they'll be like, oh, because my grandmother did it. And then you go to Grandma, why do we do this? Well, my grandmother did it. And then you go and you find some writing from the great grandmother. I did this because I was a slave. It's like
I did this because they made me do it.
This is the only food we had. It's like we can stop
you're
now.
Absolutely right.
We don't have to do that. We don't have to do all the stuff from the past.
Chris, but you don't want to stop
we're not a monolith.
I do like watermelon.
I do like watermelon, though.
I love watermelon.
But who doesn't like watermelon? You know what I'm saying? But who doesn't? That's the thing that I hate, because everybody loves watermelon.
Everybody loves fried chicken. Everybody.
Yeah, it's right.
I've
exactly.
stopped being so worried about stereotypes.
Feeling guilty eating that stuff in front of certain people. Paranoid.
No, I've stopped worrying about being a stereotype or playing into stereotypes, because I think something that we're losing is cultural significance in all of this, like stereotyping and all of, like, the chitlins. I don't know the real reason, but I do think people do it for cultural reasons, not just
delicious.
I mean, I don't know. I suppose I don't know.
But it's not delicious.
It's not delicious. I agree.
No, but Shanti, you're onto something, because, hey, black eyed peas and collard greens at New Year's, right?
Yes.
Black eyed peas for knowledge, and then, collard greens for prosperity, financial prosperity.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good tradition to have.
There's nothing wrong with traditions. I think the problem is when you say it's a Black tradition. You can say it started off as a Black tradition, but why can't white families do it? I remember, when I was dating my husband, we had our first argument when we were talking about religion and celebrating different customs. And to me, there's just a difference. Like, I can celebrate Kwanzaa customs because it's something that I am interested in, because Kwanzaa customs have come into my life as a Black American, right? It doesn't mean that I celebrate it like my ancestors have done. I don't know if they have or not, but it's a really interesting thing to learn about the other people that live around here. And we celebrate Chinese New Year. Why? Because it's an interesting holiday. It's interesting to learn about what the Chinese people believe in their New Year. And I just think sometimes the stereotypes or whatever, sometimes we want to push them all away, and sometimes it's just customs. Okay, so maybe Black people ate a lot of watermelon. You're welcome. We told you how great it was. You're welcome. Like, we could just leave it there, right? But people turn it into bad things.
That's one thing I can't say about us Black folks. I'll say this, you too, Papa Bear, is that when we say something's really good, it's almost always right. That we don't miss very often. We don't miss on fashion. We don't miss on music. We don't miss on food. We don't miss. We don't miss on dance. Like, we don't miss. If the whole community is like, that's awesome. It's the best thing. Actually.
I'm waiting for PB to come up with you got something, PB?
I got something, but it's really not funny. It goes back to something Shanti said. When she said as a kid she had a cross burned on her lawn.
Terrible. Yeah.
Profound. That was part of her Black experience, but her mother was there.
Oh,
her mother.
Yes.
She's white. Was that a Black experience for her? No, it was a hate experience.
That's interesting.
And so maybe that act in itself is an act of hate as well, or mainly.
Yeah. Great point, PB.
So, great point.
It's definitely an act of hate. That's literally what it is. It's trying to make someone scared and feel like they shouldn't belong, and that's terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I'd probably get flack for this, but I do think it's my mom's Black experience. She has had a lot of hate. She's been kicked out of restaurants and not served. She's had experiences by being with Black people. And I don't know, I guess you don't call that a Black experience exactly, but she has her own experiences that are valid, and she's not allowed to talk about them because people always say, well, yeah, what about, an actual Black person? But I think her experiences have to be so jarring. I came to her when I was 5 years old and said, what's an because I don't want to go to Africa.
Right.
What does that do to a mom? I cannot imagine if my daughter came to me and said that. I was 5. It was my first day of kindergarten.
Okay. The first time I got called that was 9 years old. What about you, Nick? When was the first time you got the N-word thrown at you?
No one has ever thrown it at me.
Oh, bless
so
you.
Lucky.
Bless you.
Yeah, I was 9 years old. My football rolled into this guy's front yard, Shanti, and he ran out on the porch in his Daisy Dukes, because that was what I guess guys wore in the early 80s. And he said, "You N-words, get out of my yard." I was like, dude, just get my football. And I went home and I said, what I did just what you did. What is that? I never been, because now you start to question, I'm different.
Yes, it didn't even occur to you. Yeah.
Yeah. But it never occurred to me. The guy throwing me the ball was white. His name was
I got another one.
Dudu Tobias. Shout out to Dudu.
I got another one for you though. Which one is more painful? Okay. So hearing the N-word from a white person or being called an Oreo by a Black person?
I've had both a lot.
I've had both.
I'm just saying, which one is worse? And you don't have to answer the question.
To me, N-word.
But it feels that way, and it feels like it should feel that way. But I'll say that was my experience when I got that one. It was just kind of like, bro, like why do I have to be that? Like, why? Because you're making it seem like it's a bad thing that I actually know what grammar is, that I can, formulate a sentence. And I know, like, why is that a thing? It's just because my grades are a certain way. Why do I have to be? And I didn't, that part,
Nick, I was never I was never messed up about that because my dad's actually white. So when they say you talk white, say, yeah, my dad's white. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Well, my
That's
parents
exactly
are not white.
what I was going to say. I wouldn't be nearly as upset when someone calls me the N-word. They're saying that I am deficient, I'm less than, and that's an insult to me. When someone says you're mixed or you're an Oreo, they think that's an insult. I think that that's who I am. I'm sorry you're upset with me. This is my mother. This is my father.
But
so
I'm
that's
not
why it
mixed.
doesn't hurt.
Right. So it's
Exactly.
we had this exact opposite experience, Nick. Yeah.
Because for you,
So that's what I'm
they're
saying.
just insulting you.
Exactly, because they're saying
their
that
minds,
I
they're
am
insulting
deficient.
you. Yeah.
Right, I'm deficient. I am less than. And that's the thing. So that's what I mean. You can't answer there's no real answer to the question because it's about your experience.
Yeah.
And that was it for me. I remember I was in middle school and someone said that. And it's a person that I didn't associate with. It wasn't like a friend or someone I cared to be like. But we were playing basketball, right? And I just had all my other friends over there were white, right? So they're like, come on, Oreo. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then they, of course, spelled it out for me. And I was like, oh, so it's like that. So let me go ahead and beat you at this basketball game real quick, right? In front of all your friends. Yeah. And then you can say what you need to say. And then
let me go ahead and start a podcast since I speak eloquently.
Exactly.
And I have fun thoughts. And I will not be able to have you on because you do not know how to do that. Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
so silly because as kids you were probably insulted by that. But really, you're absolutely right. They're just insulting that you have a different experience. In a lot of ways, it's going to be a more positive one because you can do more with being an eloquent, articulate person.
Well, thank you for that. Hey, now, Chris, I got something for you. Okay. I got a quick rapid fire round.
And thank you, by the way. Thank you for that culture check. That was a good culture check.
That was a good culture check. Wow.
Well, thank you. All right, so we're gonna do a little speed round. This is for you, Shanti, but I put the speed round together for Chris because he loves stuff like that.
I was gonna say, are you sure it's not for me?
Oh yeah. Okay, so Shanti, you're gonna answer the questions, but you got to answer quick, right? Okay. I'm gonna ask. You just gotta say the answer. Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. All right, speed round. All right, number one. Cuba Gooding Jr. or Omar Gooding?
Omar, he's my boy. I love me.
There you go.
Yeah. I love Cuba as well, but I don't know him personally as well. And Omar is my boy.
That's right. Okay. Hanging with Mr. Cooper or sister?
Sister. She's my sister, truly. Tia, love you. Yep.
You are 100%. All right. In Living Cutler or SNL?
Ooh. I'm going to say SNL, and I'm sorry. I apologize, but they're good. It's been so long. There's so many good years and good people, and
50
I'm
years.
So you can't even give it to the Fly Girls? Okay, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
It was good, but it's short now. Like you can't. They needed to go on. SNL has many years.
This is true. This is true.
And they
okay,
have Bowen
you ready?
Yang, and I'm sorry, but he's amazing.
See, there you go. All right. Pussycat Dolls or Spice Girls?
Well, I was a pussycat doll, so obviously the Spice Girls.
Well done, Shanti.
Yeah. All right. So the last two, jazz or hip hop?
Okay, I say jazz, but only for people who really understand, because jazz can be street jazz, funk jazz, lyrical jazz, contemporary jazz, and I prefer all of those to the one thing of hip hop, but I do love hip hop. But jazz hands all the way.
That's right, all the way, 100%.
All the way.
All right, last one. Bounce or BET?
Okay. I'm going to give it to the indie the indie Bounce, only because there are some really good shows on Bounce that I just don't think get all the attention. And on BET, I find that it's a little bit of a star-studded show where it just matters that you're a big name and it's not necessarily good acting or good content. And Bounce, can be hit or miss, but I feel like the actual quality of the acting and the storytelling is better, honestly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Don't
I
tell
really
people
agree
I work on,
with
but
that.
I worked for both. That's the problem.
You're right.
I actually agree with that last one. I think the point made on that last one was spot on. So, yeah. More on that. Maybe more on that later. Maybe a different culture check. I've been thinking
selling
about
movies to
Nick.
BET versus selling to Bounce will tell you everything you need to know about what you're watching. They don't care about the quality. They don't even watch the movies. They just want to see who is on your poster. And then they do like a little algorithm. Okay, she brings me this much money. He brings me this much money. Did you say they're naked in the okay, so we see a breast? Okay. Algorithm, we can, and that's literally been my experience. Where with bounce, it's like an actual conversation. What do you have in mind? What is the quality? Can I see it? And, you know, one of them is making a lot more money. BET is doing a lot better. So I guess, you know, you can't be mad at them for trying to make $1, but I much prefer to work for bounce.
There you go. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, Shanti, this has been amazing. You are amazing as well. Everything we thought you would be and more. And we'd like to just end. Oh, it's our distinct pleasure. And we'd just like to end the way we always end these conversations with the simple question, what does it mean for you to make it?
This is a beautiful question. I know you said you've been asking this forever, and that's why you started this podcast. And I think it's such a good question because I've always been a big dreamer, and I grew up in a small town and never fit in and just couldn't wait to get out. And when I was leaving, my mom said, you know, I left at, I was barely 17, like days after I turned 17, I moved out on my own and emancipated myself, not away from my mom, but just so I could start working and get into the industry and start creating success. And my mom said the best thing, she said, just make sure you know what success is before you start, so you know when you've made it. It was a wow moment because when you actually stop to process that, you have to think about it. And it's not a clear answer. Does winning an Oscar mean you've made it? Look at Halle Berry. She won an Oscar and then couldn't make a movie she wanted to make for like 10 years, you know? And I hope she's back to doing what she wants again, but I don't think she will look back on her career and say, oh, that Oscar was the it. There's probably a different mountain. And so for me, when she asked me that, I said, success to me will be when I pay my bills just doing what I want. When there's no other job, it's just paying my bills by giving and back the creative juices that I have. And I got to that place fairly early. I was fortunate to dance and be creative and pay my bills at a very young age. And I realized there's more. And that's the other thing that my mom helped me with by asking me that question. She reminded me to check in with myself all the time about that. Because sometimes your answer changes. That doesn't feel like you've made it anymore. You got to that mountain and it wasn't the top and it's not that great. And it's okay to say, okay, let me reassess here. Now that I know where I am, that's actually where I want to go. And I've done that several times over my career, but for me, it kind of still is that same thing. I've made it because my job, my actual job that I get paid for is to do creative things. And that is such a blessing. That's all I wanted when I was little. And there are years when it's hugely successful and years when I feel a little stifled, but it's still my job. And to me, I've made it.
I love that. Thank you so much for that answer. And I think we really identify with that. It's such a pleasure to get to do what we do with super talented people week in and week out, and then to pursue our own, film dreams and goals and be able to have a creative outlet and a way to talk about it. We feel, Nick always says this, and we say it to our team all the time, don't forget that we get to do this.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
So I really appreciate the answer. Can you tell everybody where they can see you act, where they can see you doing some work, doing some things, maybe follow you, get in touch with you, where they can find you on social media, all the things?
I am not a huge social media fan because it's just like one more crazy thing that I have to keep up with. But I know that I need it and I want to keep in touch. Right. So I just do one is my point. I'm on Instagram. And if you contact me, like there's a really, really good chance I will contact you back. Maybe send 2 messages if I missed the first one. Okay. But there's definitely a very good chance that we'll start a conversation and even a friendship. There are times when I've been talking to someone and we realize we've been friends for 7 years and you realize that it started by just someone sending a message. And so yes, hit me up on Instagram. It's Shanti Lowry, ShantiLowry. And, say hi, say that you heard me on the Make It podcast and let's talk about whatever. I love it. I love to talk to people and know whether they love the movies or the acting that I do or whether they're inspired by any of the stuff that I'm doing. It's like a dream. That's such a gift when people reach out to us. So please, yes. And please watch Persona. It is out now on digital and on demand. You can rent it. You can buy it basically anywhere you buy your movies. Prime, digital, or DirecTV, Comcast, Google Play, YouTube. Check it out. It is just a fun time, but it also has so much heart in it, and it's like a little conversation starter. I'm also going to be on season 2 of Mind Your Business on Bounce. I'm not sure when that comes out, but it was really fun. We shot that at the end of the year, and it was another blast with Bentley Kyle Evans. But yeah, it was so fun to talk to you guys. This was just like such a pleasure.
Likewise. And if you want to reach out to us, well, first of all, everybody go watch Persona. Shout out to GV, shout out to Gravitas, distributor of that film.
Truly.
So, and all the good folks there. But go watch Persona, support independent film, put your money where your mouth is, and you will not regret it. And support Shanti and all the things she's doing out there in the world. And you can find her on Instagram, like she said, at Shanti Lowry. And shoot your shot there, I guess, but be appropriate.
Send the message.
Be appropriate.
I was just going to say, be appropriate, because I don't answer the inappropriate messages. But if you want to,
yes,
you know,
this is someone who's willing to put herself out there to connect with you. I don't think you should take that for granted as if you're out here listening to this or watching this. Now, if you want to know more about the Make It Podcast, you can do that at themakeitpodcast.com. You'll learn everything about us. You can reach out to Nick directly at his email at nick@bonsai.film. You can find me on X at Flame in Your Heart, or you can just search for Chris Barkley and I will come right up. If you're listening to this, you should try to watch us on YouTube. You can just search for the Make It Podcast and we'll be right there. It's a great platform. We have all of our back episodes for the most part up there, a lot of shorts, a lot of different clips. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you know that if you're taking that road trip, you can just find us on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Really important thing here, no matter which platform you find us on, like, subscribe, rate, review. It really does help. I know it's cliche, but it actually does make a difference. So if you have that time, if you have 10 seconds it takes, click the subscribe button, give us 5 stars on Apple or Spotify. It really helps with discoverability, and it means the world to us that you would do that. Last but certainly not least, we have great gear. It's cold outside. We just got through with an Arctic blast. Isn't that, doesn't it feel like time for a hoodie or a really soft crew neck? You can find these at cottonbureau.com. We have a partnership with cottonbureau.com. These guys are exceptional with their gear, and they do something really cool. They basically reject 90% of every design that they get, and our design is in there. So it's a cool design. It's vetted. You'll like it. And make it part of your filmmaking journey. These are great clothes for set as well. So we've got t-shirts as well, if you like that, long sleeve t-shirts like the one I'm wearing now. And we have plenty of cities. Right now I'm wearing New York, so make it in New York, but you could get whatever city you want. You see Papa Bear's wearing Make It in Nashville. So get the city of your choice and go find that at cottonbureau.com. Soft hoodies, soft crew necks, incredible long sleeve and short sleeve t-shirts, hats, and even phone cases. Cottonbureau.com. Search for the Make It Podcast. And with that, Nick, can you please leave us with the credo?
It would be my pleasure, monsieur. But before that, of course, I have to say again, thank you, Shanti. This was amazing. We really appreciate you coming on here and just being your true, real, authentic self and giving us grace as well and that opportunity to be our authentic selves. But because you know how you get when you're with your people. Right. Whatever those people are, whatever they look like, whatever they sound like, when you're with your people, you know it and you can feel it. And it is one of the most amazing feelings in the world. So we appreciate you for shedding and shining your light on this podcast and, of course, on our audience. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks for having me. Truly, it's an honor to have the platform to discuss anything, because that's why we've made it, because people want to hear us. So I appreciate it.
Excellent. And with that, I have to say to our filmmaking friends, our family, our fans out there, be better, be creative, be engaged.
And thank you for listening. Nick, Shanti, talk to you soon.
Yep. Do it again, man.
Bye.
Right. Papa Bear.
Bye, PB.
Miss
Bye,
you, Sam.
Papa Bear.